All right. What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the post-game show. Lakers over the Wizards, 142 to 111. Complete domination. Kind of perfect, to be honest with you. The game went quick. Lakers handled business. Everyone kind of move on to their freaking weekend. All right. It's the Washington Wizards. Just got to hurry the hell up, take care of business, and then call it a day. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I did mention, I've been saying this if you guys were tuned in this morning. I'm out at Harris Resort, which is one of our partners. So I'm here, this unbelievable, ridiculous room that they gave me. So I'm here for the night, and I'm going to go to a good comedy show after this, Andrew Santino. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll do the post-game show from in here. Probably won't go as long as I usually go. I know sometimes I go 45, 40 minutes, something like that. We'll see how long I go. At least a half hour. We'll get a half hour in. And then, I'm going to go and enjoy my in Friday night. And I hope you guys are doing the same thing. I don't know what you guys are doing out there, but might as well. What do we got? Almost 6:30 on a Friday night. Why don't we crack open a beer here, huh? Got a nice one. By the way, this is actually the Rincon band. They got a Rincon brewery here. So this is their Mexican lager right here. Yeah, don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. And if you guys don't mind, maybe grab a drink yourself. Enjoy one with me today on this Friday night. All right, we got a lot to get into. We'll talk about a lot. By the way, what's better than a Mexican lager? Is there anything better than a Mexican lager? I don't think there is. I really don't. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the game. There's a couple different angles that we can take here. Obviously, the biggest angle and the thing that is the most important thing is just go out there and get a freaking win and move on. You're playing one of the worst teams in the entire NBA. I think they have the second worst record in the NBA. There was a second there, they had the worst record, and then they won 2 games in a row. And then, if I'm a Wizards fan and all I care about is just completely trying to tank so I could get the best possible pick. I know the way they do it now, it's a little bit different. But if hypothetically that's the game plan, I'm watching these games and I'm saying, I like the Laker game where they get their asses kicked, but I don't like the other games where the Washington Wizards win. Lakers did nothing special tonight. What they did was handle business, which is exactly what they're supposed to do. But I think more importantly, if you're watching the Lakers, there's nothing to take away from the team. I mean, if you dominate a team 142 to 111, and that's what you're supposed to do, nobody's going to complain about that. Biggest lead for the Lakers. Let me see what the biggest lead. Wasn't it 38-ish or something like that? What was their biggest lead? 38-point lead. They only trailed at 1 point by 2 points. They had the lead 97% of the game. And I'm listening to James Worthy and Stu Lance and some of these other guys post-game just before I came on, and Stu, when him and Billy Mack are doing the game on Spectrum. And everyone was pretty much like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Move on. Give some of your players, your starters, a little bit of rest and go from there. And the Lakers did that. I think bigger picture for the Lakers, and trust me, I'm going to talk about Luka and just how ridiculous his game was, specifically that first half. Just absurd. We'll talk about Deandre Ayton. If I'm going to come on here and I'm going to criticize Deandre Ayton, then I'm also going to give Ayton credit when he has a game that's worth talking about. So I'll do that as well. But the bigger picture for the Lakers here, and I think this is the point that I want to make, is they had an 8-game road trip. And so far on this road trip, you got the win against the Nuggets, the loss against the Clippers, the win against the Mavs, the win against the Bulls, the loss to the Cavaliers, and a win against the Wizards. You got 2 games left. You're already 4-2. I think the Knicks game coming up on Sunday is going to be a very, very tough game. Don't expect. I mean, listen, if the Lakers won that game, I'd be more surprised than if Lakers lost that game. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or anything. I'm just telling you that's going to be a tough game for the Lakers. But what I will say is you've at least set yourself up. You put yourself in a position where at the worst, you can go 5-3 if you handle business against Brooklyn. Maybe you can go out there and surprise some people and have one of your better games. Maybe Reeves comes back for the game coming up on Sunday, and you could walk away from this road trip 6-2. That'd be amazing. Either way, they've held their ground. And these last 30 days or so that Austin Reeves has been out, the Lakers have done enough to hold their ground. And that part I'm going to give them credit for. We'll come back to all that, and I'll kind of set up the Knicks game and everything else. But let's spend a little bit of time on this game specifically against the Washington Wizards. How incredible was Luka tonight? How good was he in that first half? How good was Luka, period? but how good was Luka in that first half? In the first quarter ended, he had 14, 7, and 7. By the time you got to halftime, he had 26, 11, and 11. I know it's been done before. I'm not saying it hasn't been done before. I know it's not the first time ever that a guy has a triple-double in the first half. But is that not the most absurd stat line that you've ever seen? 26, 11, and 11 in about, I don't even know how many minutes he played. 20 minutes of play? 18 minutes of play? However amount of minutes he played in that first half. That stat line is just absurd. Absolutely absurd. Really, really cool to see Luka just have one of those games. And you heard him kind of joking around with Mike Trudell. There was a play there, end of the first half. He banks a three. And, people are asking, like, what, did he do that on purpose? Was that an accident? No, it was on purpose. And I believe that. I don't think he's just saying that just to say it. That shot's too pure. And he takes too many of those types of shots, that angle. I can see Luka trying to bank it, but setting everybody up, Ayton getting looks, Jackson Hayes getting dunks, getting lobs, really just set everybody up as if it was just set it up on a silver platter for them. And a lot of those guys obviously did work today. I'm not trying to overhype a win against the Washington Wizards. I'm really not. But Luka was pretty special tonight. He really was. Okay, that's the Luka Doncic piece of this. By the way, I know there's a lot of comments coming in. I'll get to your comments here in just a little bit, so we'll do that in just a second. A busy day today, by the way. Starting the day this morning, and all the Rui conversation that we're having, the Rui, DeAndre Hunter, should the Lakers do it? Should they not do it? Is that the best trade that's out there? Do the Lakers hold on to draft picks? All this other stuff. And then obviously a game that tipped off at 4 o'clock. So it was a busy day today. Let me talk Ayton here for a quick second. Can I get a sip of my beer? I mean, could I just at least enjoy the beer while I'm doing the show? I don't think there's anything better than a Mexican lager. I really don't. It's just a nice, light, tasting, refreshing beer. Maybe some people like the IPAs and everything else. That's not really my jam, if I'm being honest with you. All right. Let's talk DeAndre in here for a second. I think I've been pretty adamant, and hopefully you guys believe that I'm fair when I have the conversation about DeAndre. And he's been, a disappointment. Certainly has been a disappointment for this last couple of weeks. He had 28 points tonight with 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 12 of 14 from the field in 29 minutes of play. Now, let me say this. I think for Laker fans, or maybe not even a Laker fan, there's a lot of people that will come on the show and they might be a Clipper fan. They might be a Denver Nuggets fan, a San Antonio Spurs fan. You're all welcome. I love talking NBA, and I got no problem talking about other people's teams as well. But I think there's a lot of people around the league that when they see DeAndre, including Laker fans, like tonight, for example, 28 and 13. Nobody's going to really make that big of a deal about it because it's one of the worst teams in the NBA. But if Ayton had a 28 and 13 on Sunday against the Knicks, 4 p.m. tip-off on Sunday, exclusive nationally televised game, if he had one of those types of games against a really good team, one of the teams that can come out of the Eastern Conference, a team like the Knicks, then you can kind of get some people to say, wow, do you see that game Ayton had? Now, I'm going to still give Ayton credit because I think at this stage, Ayton needs any confidence that he can possibly get just based on how his season has gone, based on the ups and downs, based on how many times we've criticized DeAndre Ayton here, based on the disappointment of just kind of hoping Ayton's going to be something that he's probably not going to be, but we keep hoping that something like that's going to happen, and that just hasn't been the case. But he had a really good game tonight. Obviously, a lot of his buckets around the basket. Great energy for this game as well. Here's the thing that I want to see with DeAndre Ayton. Can we get it against some premier teams? Can we get it against some good big men and some good organizations out there? I think that's going to be the question that we're going to have when it comes to DeAndre Ayton. Can you do it against some of the elite in the NBA or against some of these elite teams? Because I don't want to take away credit from a 28 and 13 performance from DeAndre Ayton, but I'm kind of going to look at it like, all right, it's still the Wizards. Just like the win. It's like, hey, you got to do it. You got to go through the process. It's not your fault that the Wizards are bad and the Lakers jumped out and were up by 38 at one point. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Ayton is also going to be judged against good teams. Give you another example. The Lakers are going to be judged against good teams. Because if I really want to poke holes at the Lakers right now, and again, nice road trip so far, they're sitting at 4-2. The two teams that they played that were either playing some really good NBA or playing some really good stretch of basketball in the NBA in the Clippers, or another team that's, hey, this team could come out of the Eastern Conference, even though they didn't have Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. Those are the two teams that you lost against. Your win against the Dallas Mavericks, of course. You win at Denver. Okay, that maybe is a tough game, but here's the reality. They're missing so many of their key players. Can you have a signature win in this road trip? And the only game to have a signature win left is against the Knicks. Can DeAndre Ayton have a game where he goes up against a team that, hey, that's a good team. That's a good squad. They could come out of the Eastern Conference. They got a lot of talented players. They got a lot of all-stars on that team, or a couple of all-stars on that team. Can you have that type of performance against them? So that's another a piece to certainly keep an eye on as the Lakers go play the Knicks coming up on Sunday. But listen, a nice night for DeAndre Ayton. He should enjoy this one, have 3 blocks as well. The 13 rebounds is a monster number, 28 and 13. So efficient from the field. 12 only missed 2 shots and took 14 field goal attempts. I mean, that's incredible. So he should enjoy this because he's got to build confidence for himself. The team needs him to build some confidence. So I still think there's kind of a lot going on in regards to DeAndre Ayton and his lack of consistency and what the Lakers need from him to do. And we'll see if he's able to do that. A couple of the players I'm going to point out. LeBron had some dunks in tonight's game, and it's kind of cool to watch, to listen to Billy Mack and Stu. And they'll get really excited on a call because LeBron does something. But I think they're also excited because the road fan base, they just, they lose it. They love seeing LeBron put up some unbelievable highlights, or a lob that he got from DeAndre Ayton that wasn't a good pass, and he still goes up and dunks it with his left hand. A runaway dunk. Like, there's certain things that he still does that, of course, is wildly impressive. He shouldn't be doing at 41. And you have opposing teams, their fan base, knowing and understanding, hey, this might be the last time I ever get to watch LeBron live. Hey, this might be the last time LeBron is ever in D.C. again for a road game. And he had some of those moments. And, obviously LeBron wasn't the second leading scorer tonight. It was Ayton, but he still contributed for the Lakers. Had 20 points for the Lake Show. I'll come to these comments. Don't worry. I know people want to chime in. 20.6 assists, 2 steals for LeBron. A nice night for him. I mentioned Ayton with the 28. I don't think I mentioned Luka's final line. 37, 11 rebounds, and 13 assists, along with 3 steals. Did have 5 turnovers. Not ideal from that perspective. And a lot of other guys contributed. Jackson Hayes with 10 and 3, a lot of highlight plays for him. He's getting fed pretty well here by a lot of these Laker guards, specifically Luka. Rui got into double figures with 11 points. Jared Vanderbilt had 8 points, also had 4 steals, so nice to see him contribute the way he did as well. All right, so that's a lot right there. I know I hit on a lot, but I wanted to make sure at least I covered kind of all my bases in regards to some of these players that contributed tonight. We'll take a look at some of the comments here, hear what people got to say. I definitely want to get everybody's opinion on this game. That part's going to be important. Before I do so, let's give a shout out to our partner and the exact place that I'm at here. So shout out to Harris Resort SoCal. All right, what are some of the reasons why you should come out to Harris? You should come out to Harris if you're in Southern California, because it's probably 1 to 2 hours away from wherever you are. Very, very easy and efficient and smart way of taking a staycation and not having to get on a flight somewhere and spending ridiculous money in the process. You should come out to Harris Resort because they got great entertainment acts, including one tonight, which is a great comedy show I'm going to go see Andrew Santino. You could come out to Harris Resort SoCal because they got one of the best restaurants in SoCal, which is Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen. You could also come out here because they got the Rincon Brewery, which, by the way, I found out tonight, brews some pretty damn good beer as well. They got the Rincon Brewery. They got a whole different line of different beers that they make, and phenomenal beer as well. So these are all reasons why you should come out to Harris. If you're going to book your next stay or your next getaway, just go to harrissocal.com. harrissocal.com. Shout out to Harris Resort. All right, let's get to some of the comments here. All right, look, I got people doing ads for me. That's what I'm talking about. I don't even have to do the work anymore. People will do them for me. Bron is fitting in. I think he will turn up in the playoffs. I think Bron is just going to come down to how he's feeling. That to me is going to be the big thing is, he's got so much mileage on him, 41 years old. What's it going to look like come postseason? I think you just always have to be weary with LeBron because of his age and his mileage, how long he's been, obviously from just the amount of minutes that he's put on his body. With that being said, I don't think I'm really concerned about LeBron. I think it's just the rest of the roster, figuring out what the rest of the roster is going to be able to do. I don't understand why leading Ayton is a bad thing. What the hell? Why feeding? My bad. Why feeding Ayton is a bad thing? What the hell? I don't really disagree with you on that. Here's my only issue with Ayton, and I think it's a fair point if you say, guys, we got to get Ayton the ball more. The problem with Ayton is I don't like a player that's going to give you the type of energy that he has based on how often he gets the ball. Now, I was also talking about this, and I spent some time a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about how ISO ball ain't going to get it done, and Luka's taking too many shots, and these shots aren't even good looks. They're not efficient. This guy's got to share the ball a little bit. And then you hear JJ Redick and Rui Hachimura talk about how JJ called out some of the different players. So hopefully that's helpful to everybody, and it kind of puts everybody in a nice position where they feel like, all right, you know what, that ball's going to move more, and it's just better basketball, and it's a better strategy to try to win on a night-in, night-out basis. I don't mind giving Ayton looks. I don't mind Ayton feeding the ball. What I don't like with Ayton is how come every day he comes and shows up to work, you have no idea what kind of effort you're going to get. That's my issue with Ayton. My biggest issue with Ayton, imagine having a coworker. You probably already had a coworker. And on Monday, they're excited, they're happy, they're high-fiving people, and they're like, let's freaking get to work. On Tuesday, they're a completely different person. You're like, who is this person? I'm like, I think they're watching Netflix the entire time they're sitting in their cubicle. And then Wednesday, they come back and they're great again. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to get. That's Ayton. I just got no idea what Ayton's going to be every time he comes to work. I mean, if I was Ayton, 35% of my podcast would be average. Maybe that is the number. Maybe I am Ayton. For all I know, maybe I am Ayton. Let's get a couple more in here. After the next 2 games, 15 of the next 16 are home to defend home court. If we want to be honest with each other for a quick second, just from a positioning standpoint, again, I'm not. At the end of the day, Lakers are going to need to start beating up on some good teams, and that's going to tell a lot more of a story of what the Lakers are. But let me just say this. They're 11 games over 500. They're 5th in the Western Conference. They're 2.5 games from the number 3 spot, which is where Denver is. And it's not like they're in an awful position. Reeves will be coming back soon. We'll see what they're going to do by the trade deadline. But I still think it's fair to say that everyone's going to have hesitancy to say they're a top 3 team in the Western Conference. Playoffs started today. They get Houston in the first round. You drop to number 6, you might get Denver in the first round. They may be out before the first round's even done. I'll tell you right now, they're not going to be favorites. They won't be favorites to be Houston or San Antonio. Let's wait to see what happens. And, there's a lot of injuries. I will use Denver as an example. We just saw Aaron Gordon out again, at least 4 to 6 weeks is going to be reevaluated. How many injuries have the Nuggets had piling up on them? And sometimes in the NBA, in the league, you just have years where it's like nothing goes the right way. Does it not feel like Denver's kind of in that spot or situation? They still got time, but damn, every time you look at Denver, they got another player that's out. Key players, big-time players. So to answer your question here, yes, the Lakers are going to have some games because of this road trip finally ending, and they're going to get a lot of home cooking. All right. Can we start seeing the Lakers against some of these good teams? Let me see, by the way. You got Philly at home, OKC at home, San Antonio at home, Clippers at home, Boston at home, Phoenix on the road. Anyway, I'm just kind of pointing out some of these next few games. I skipped a couple that were more maybe layups. All right, now we're going to get a good idea to see what the hell the Lakers are. Because I don't think anybody really cares that much when they beat the Wizards or some of these other teams. And it's not their fault. They got to take care of the schedule in front of them. But certainly it would be more impressive if they're beating up or they're going up against some of these upper echelon teams. Let's see what else we got here from people. Low key. Sliwa does a good job. He's 100%. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. Rincon. All right, that's now looking. Now you got into my head here. Rincon Brewery. I try to make them organic, and I really, really try to have like real, authentic sponsorships. I like the people that I work with, and I like the people that obviously believe in the show and believe in kind of the channel and everything else. All right, let's get some more here. Slee is okay. Luka is shooting 38.5% from 3 in January, up from 29% in December. He went through a bad stretch there. He went through a bad stretch there where his three-point shot just wasn't falling. Now, it's still Luka. He's going to eventually figure it out, and obviously he's definitely figuring it out at this point. All right, let's I like this one. Sunday is must-watch TV against the Knicks. I don't disagree with that at all. I'm actually really, really looking forward to that game. A little bit later in the show, I will preview the game, so we'll get into that. I'll do that in just a little bit here, but I'm with you on that. I do think there's something there in regards to that Lakers-Knicks game. I think that's going to be a really fun game. So let me get some a little bit of opinion. Even if I try to, I don't think I could do it. Even if I tried shotgunning a beer, I just need someone to flip me upside down. I'll do a keg stand. We doing keg stands or no? Hey, guys. Making it sound like there's 13 people in here. Okay, a couple of things I'm going to get into here real quick, and we'll keep the show moving. All right, so Lakers over the Wizards, 142-111. One of the things that is going to be interesting, we are now less than a week away from the NBA trade deadline. Anything else you guys want to hit on the game, feel free to do so. It just obviously wasn't that big of a game and not crazy entertaining to really break down a ton, but feel free to. If you guys still got some stuff on the Wizards game, feel free to do so. I mean, I'll mention this, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to the NBA trade deadline. I will say this, something that was cool to see tonight against Washington. There were, from a team perspective, there were some stats that were really, really impressive. Lakers shot 61% from the field, 42% from the three-point line. What was the other stat that I saw? 38 assists. I only see that typically from teams like the Golden State Warriors, and then 66 points in the paint. So, again, Lakers handling business, and they're doing whatever they're doing. It's going to be an interesting next 5-6 days for the Lakers. A lot of rumors. I spent some time this morning talking about Rui. I was a little surprised that the Lakers were, that there was that much smoke about, hey, the Lakers are looking to shop Rui to go upgrade at that 3-and-D position. I was actually a little bit surprised. And listen, I was saying you can make an argument to me to go get DeAndre Hunter. You can. The fact that he plays defense, he's 6'8", he's got a 7'2" wingspan. The fact that he's under contract next year, so the Lakers have a little flexibility what to do, and they're kind of using Rui Hachimura to get another one of those wing players that probably has a little bit more upside, could fit potentially better with Luka because of his athleticism, and then they can hold on to him next year. You can definitely. I'm very much listening to that conversation and that argument. The thing that surprised me a little bit this morning, it was like, damn. I mean, here's Rui coming off a couple solid games. He's been, if I'm going to give Rui credit from this perspective, and I know this is not typically how players are judged in the league. You don't typically judge a player by saying, hey, he seems like a really nice guy. Hey, he seems like he's a good locker room guy. I think a lot of times it's like, what's your production? What are you doing? And that's going to typically determine whether you're part of the future of that team. And a lot of fan bases are going to typically say they like a player or they don't because of his production, not his, he's a good guy. Rui's had some production. I don't think Rui's had a bad season this year. I think, it's interesting kind of seeing maybe a roll off the bench for him. But what a fascinating next 5-6 days for the Lakers, because they could potentially trade Rui. They could potentially trade other guys that I don't think anyone would care about. I don't think anybody cares, no disrespect. Whether Maxi Kleba, Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect, they'll care a little bit if Vando goes. I think there'll be a little bit of an argument of like, are you sure Vando, is that the guy? But there's a lot of other players that I don't think there's a lot of emotion to. But Rui, I put a poll up and I asked, do people want to make that trade? Rui and Dalton Connect for DeAndre Hunter. And probably 75, 80% of Laker fans were like, no. And that really tells you something, because fans are typically, yeah, trade him. Yeah, absolutely. Get rid of this guy. We need a new coach. I don't know if they say it like that. I don't know if their voice changes that way, but in my head it does. But in this case, a lot of fans were like, nah, F that. Keep Rui Hachimura. Maybe they just don't like the package coming back. Maybe if it was Andrew Wiggins, they'd have a different conversation. Or maybe it was Herb Jones. I mean, I know those trades aren't going to happen, but I'm saying that maybe if it was a different player, the conversation would be different. But kind of a fascinating next couple of weeks for the Lakers. We'll find out a lot about Lake Show front office, what it looks like the rest of the way based on these next couple of weeks. So it should be fun. That's a fun time of the year to obviously break all that stuff down. All right, let's see what we got here. I would rather trade with Bucks for Kuzma than trade with Cavs for Hunter. Yeah, I'm good off Kuzma. I'm good. We already did that. I'm good with that one. Definitely had that one for a while, and God bless Kuzma. God bless him. I'm good. I'm moving on from Kuz. It was almost like when D'Angelo Russell came back. I'm like, again, we're doing D'Lo again. Didn't we already get that chapter with D'Lo? And listen, that's my opinion. I mean, obviously, if other people have different opinions, you guys are more than welcome. If you guys like that idea, feel free to put it on the chat. I'm just, I'm not in. I'm going another way. Good locker room guys matter for the 11, 12 men on the bench, but not regular rotation guys. Some truth to that. Obviously, you can get, if you can get the perfect world is you got guys that are like, okay, that's a good locker room guy, and he's also a really good player. I think Austin Reeves fits that mold, right? I think that's probably a player where super talented, all-star caliber player this year, and it feels like everybody likes him. Everybody likes him, except Laker fans. Laker fans have been trying to trade this guy. The moment Luka came, they started buying him one-way tickets to every other market in the NBA. All right, see what else we have here. We can get Hunter, Sharp, Highsmith on a 3-team deal between Cleveland and Nets. I keep hearing the Brooklyn Nets come up a lot. Nick Claxton names comes up. I think the fact that the Lakers have done deals with the Brooklyn Nets, I think there's a natural tie-in to think, hey, maybe there's good chemistry between those, or there's a good relationship between those two organizations. Let's get a couple more in here. The one thing that I will say is I do think the whole draft pick thing is a big thing. I think the Lakers are going to do probably everything in their power to hold on to that first round pick, unless they're able to get a guy that they feel like, well, what the hell are we holding on to the pick for? This is the guy that we need, and he could be with Luka for the next 3-4 years. That you cannot say about DeAndre Hunter, but there's no first round pick involved in that deal. So I think the angle with DeAndre Hunter is you're not giving up any draft compensation. You got a guy that has definitely upside. He's 28, 29 years old. I think 28. Again, athletic, 7'2", the whole thing. I'm not hate. My world's not ending if they get DeAndre Hunter, but I get the hesitation too. I get the hesitation. A lot of people like Rui and they think he spreads the floor out good. Wizards are a disaster. I'm not kidding. I'm telling you guys right now. If you said, Al, can you go run the Washington Wizards for 1 year? And I took 4 listeners with me, and I said, I need a assistant general manager, and I need a head of public relations. And I get 4 of our listeners with us. Us 5 can do a better job than whoever the hell runs the Washington Wizards. I don't know if they still have the same front office. I think they might have made some changes to the front office. To be honest with you, right now, they're doing the exact thing they should be doing. Just be terrible. And that organization doesn't have to try very hard because most of them are terrible. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Let's actually do this. I want to do a couple things here real quick. I want to do scores around the NBA and some of the games that could affect the Lakers as far as standings wise. Next game coming up is Lakers and the Knicks. I want to spend a little time on the Lakers and the Knicks. I think that's obviously a good conversation. We'll do that as well. So let's focus on that here for the next couple of minutes. And I know people have some supers in there as well and some other comments I'm going to get into. So we're going to do all that in just a second. Before we do so, of course, our main partner here as well, our OG, as I like to call him, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. If you need an injury attorney, I hope you never do. I hope you're never in a position or a situation that's probably incredibly intimidating, daunting. You don't know where to start. Created a website, a URL, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Go to that website. You get an absolutely free consultation. I don't need to push too hard on this. I think everybody knows now that's a part of the channel. Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, that's the injury attorney of this channel. He was with me when I was on radio. He's now with me, obviously, here on YouTube. He can help anybody in the state of California. You want to email me, hit me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Anybody wants a personal introduction to the owner of Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, I'll be happy to make an introduction. He's the best in the business. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Again, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Okay, let's get everybody kind of set up here these next couple of games, and then we'll look at a couple of scores around the NBA. So right now, I was just looking. I think there's 9 games tonight in the league. Games that would affect the Lakers. Cavs are playing the Suns right now. Suns still playing pretty good ball. They're up 8. Clippers are down 7 to the Nuggets. Frankly, you need the Clippers to win if you want to get closer to the Denver Nuggets. 47-40 there in the second quarter. A lot of other games. Pistons and the Warriors will play at 7 o'clock tonight. That's on ESPN. And then all the other games that ended, Knicks blew out the Blazers by 30. Lakers got the Knicks coming up on Sunday. Celtics got another win as well. So next game for the Lakers, they got the Knicks coming up on Sunday. All right, that's a fun game. You know, somebody said a little bit earlier that's must-watch TV. You know, it's must-watch TV for a couple of different reasons. I'll give you some of my reasons for it. Both of these teams have the same exact record. Let me see this. Let me double-check here. You know, I like to be accurate here. Let's go to the league. Let's see what we have here. Knicks are 30-18. Lakers are 29-18. Knicks have won 5 games in a row. They went through a stretch where they were struggling. Impressive wins. Who they beat? Portland, Toronto, Sacramento, Philly, and Brooklyn. So nothing too impressive. At Toronto's an impressive win just because they absolutely blew them out. And Toronto's 8-9 games over 500. Philly, you could say, is also a pretty decent win. They won by 3 on the road. This one is must-watch for a couple of reasons. I'll give you a few of them. Number one, it's must-watch because it's the Lakers and the Knicks, 2 of the most premier franchises in the NBA, 2 of the East Coast versus the West Coast, 2 very historic franchises. The only difference is the Lakers actually have been stacking up championships over the last 50 years, and the Knicks haven't. So there's always a little overreaction with the Knicks when they win 1 round in the playoffs, which never made any sense to me. I mean, literally, the fan base, you know, when people say act like you've been there before, I get it. They haven't been there in God knows how long, since Phil Jackson was a player in the NBA is the last time they won an NBA championship. And they don't act like a franchise that's as popular as they are. They don't act like them. Like, imagine if the Yankees acted like the Knicks do. I mean, it makes no sense to me, but I kind of understand it. They also haven't won a championship in a really long time. So it's must-watch TV because it's the Lakers and the Knicks. It's also must-watch TV because both of these teams in the Eastern and the Western Conference, they're good teams. Top 5 in the East, top 5 in the Western Conference, and that's kind of where both of these squads are here. It's also must-watch because you got a lot of all-stars, whether it's Jalen Brunson, Luka Doncic, of course, the history of LeBron James. Is this LeBron's last game at the Madison Square Garden? So There's a lot of reasons to watch this game, and there's a lot of hype behind this game. I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's going to be a tough game for the Lakers. I could already tell that the Knicks are going to come. They're going to play tough. They're going to play hard. They're going to roll up their sleeves, and they're going to, make this a grind for the Lakers. How do the Lakers respond? Which team is it going to be? Is it going to be the team that fights, or is it going to be the team that honestly lays down? And we see that. I mean, even as recent as the Cavs game, the Lakers just kind of laid down in the second half. I don't think they'll lay down, but I think it's going to be a tough game against the Knicks. I think it's going to be a fun game, and I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to it. I'm sure a lot of Laker fans are looking forward to it as well. So Lakers and the Knicks, that game is coming up at 4 o'clock on Sunday. I'll do a post-game show right after. Okay, final thing that I'm going to do here. Final thing I'm going to do here is answer some questions, read some of the comments, and then we're done. You know what? We'll get to, we'll go about 5 more minutes, and then we'll call it a day. This question. I love how Alan took a drink before answering the question. I don't know what you're talking about. I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. I wish I knew where you were going with that. I have no idea. See, last year you gave me a shout out for my future wedding. I'm enjoying married life now. Go Lakers. Brother, Jose, cheers to you, brother. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, buddy. Thank you for the 20 spot. I appreciate that very much. Very, very nice of you. And congratulations. And hopefully marriage life, like you said, is going as planned. Congratulations, brother. That's what the channel does. The channel is actually known for, like, you guys think that this is known for breaking down Lakers basketball and breaking down NBA basketball. We're actually really known for is bringing couples together. That's what this channel is known for. I mean, that's just, put it in your search. YouTube channels that bring couples together. What comes up immediately? Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa. Chris, thank you, brother. Got one here from Chris. A super right there. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate it. Jose, congratulations, brother. That's awesome. All right, let's get a couple more in here, and then we're going to call it a day. I heard Cat don't like that he's in trade rumors. I don't blame him. But to be honest with you, Cat's been in a lot of trade rumors for a long time. And, obviously Karl Anthony Towns, if Giannis's name is being thrown in the middle, that's going to come with the territory. He doesn't have to like it. But, and again, I agree. Probably frustrating and annoying that he's always in trade rumors, but if you got a chance at Giannis Antetokounmpo, I mean, listen, let's put it this way. If the Knicks were to win an NBA championship, you think they could do it without Giannis? I think they could get to the finals. I don't think they're beating the Thunder. Knicks have a really good team. They do. I mean, OG Anunoby is a stud. Mikal Bridges is a stud. Josh Hart plays a perfect role. Jalen Brunson he's a baller. Go get you a bucket any time of the day. But I don't think they can win a championship. And there's a lot of teams that are kind of in that position there. The Spurs don't really have to do anything. They're on the up and up. Denver's all in right now. Houston's all in right now. I don't know if I don't really know of a team in the Eastern Conference that can really compete in a 7-game set with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Maybe nobody can. We'll have to wait and see. But I just say that because Cat's in a lot of trade rumors. I understand why he's in a lot of trade rumors. Julius Randle would be the missing piece for the Lakers. Should have never let him go. Damn, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago when he was here. I agree with this one, OG Anunoby. I love OG. By the way, he's got the greatest name in the history of sports. He might have the greatest name I've ever heard of in my life. When I was on radio in LA, I kept always saying, I'm like, who's got a better name than OG Anunoby? Phenomenal name right there. All right, let's see what else we got here. That link I posted was LeBron highlights. He's sweet, and Bronny needs to get some more minutes. I'm a little surprised that Bronny still gets this much attention when he goes out on the road. Fans really, really want to continue to see this guy in these opposing arenas. Literally every time he's out there, teams want to see him, whether the Lakers are getting blown out or the Lakers are blowing another team out. He's had some fun highlights these last couple of games. All right, my people, I think we're done for the day. I mentioned I want to go 30 minutes. We went 40 minutes. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Try to kind of get this one in. Like I said, here at Harris Resort, they were very nice to kind of take care of me for a couple of days. So I'm looking forward to go watching Andrew Santino and his show, that comedy show. Lakers over the Wizards, 142-111. Back on Sunday. Sunday we'll be back after the Lakers take on the Knicks. That's a big game. Big-time game. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday night. Enjoy your Saturday. Sunday, we'll get back together probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock, another 4 p.m. tip-off. So I'd say at the latest 7 o'clock coming up on Friday night or on Sunday night. Have a great rest of your day. Have a good weekend. I will see you guys coming up on Sunday. Lakers over the Wizards, 142-111.